Here's all the hot Hollywood gossip. Harry Potter star Daniel Radcliffe has been named Entertainment Weekly's Entertainer of the Year. Other celebrities who made the list include singer Adele, the Help actress Viola Davis, pop star Katy Perry, and Ryan Gosling. Zac Efron wants to take his father and brother on a 2,000-mile trek across the U.S. next year so they can spend quality time together. Efron is keen to walk the Appalachian Trail, which stretches from Maine to Georgia. Glee star Lea Michele changed her surname because she used to get called Leah Sarfatti at school. The 25-year-old actress, whose real name is Lea Michele Sarfatti, said she decided to give herself a new stage name.
I usually get my news either online or from newspapers, but I don't read the newspaper every day, so it ends up being like the San Mateo Daily Journal in the copy room while I'm waiting for my copies to be made.
I get my news from Twitter and Facebook.
I get my news from Twitter and the television.
The internet, social media. Usually Yahoo News, or if it's really like rare cases, probably the ABC News.
I get it from Twitter and Facebook. Cleaver. I usually like to read the newspaper. I'm really old-fashioned.
The Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, and a lot of magazines.
I get my news from the newspaper, the old-fashioned way.
I get my news on TV. So,
News is factually based and affects a great amount of people. Well, I would say gossip is spread from person to person, but may not be factually based, or may not really affect very many people.
Gossip is people's opinions and people being biased and having their own facts, and the real thing is stuff that's firsthand.
Usually irrelevant facts, like Anthony said, but news is kind of relevant and it's factual. Gossip can be misinterpreted.
Kind of the same.
The difference between gossip and news would be that gossip is a word-of-mouth type of thing, and it's unsubstantiated. News, on the other hand, should have sources. News should have citations. A newspaper writer or person, columnist, would have to be able to tell where they got the information from. It should be a fact that could be backed up.
gossip is like rumors. News is something that happened, like current events, like the weather, stuff like that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a solid 4.
7.
I think I'm like an 8, 7.5 on how involved and how much I know about current events.
Probably like 7.
Not informed. Not really an interest.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I feel I'm probably a 7 in terms of being informed. During the summer, I'm a 10, but during the school year, I don't have enough time to read the newspaper because I'm always doing other things related to school, so I'm not as informed. But my wife, who's awesome, helps me out because she's always on top of everything.
China has one of the largest and most heavily watched internet populations in the world. There's about 340 million internet users in total. Within China, there are nearly 40,000 internet police which monitor comments that are posted to the internet, and if any are seen as inappropriate, they are removed immediately. 80 people in China, with 30 of them being journalists, are imprisoned due to them posting their views or beliefs on the web. An estimate of 500,000 websites are blocked in China.
According to figures released by Inside Facebook, a company that analyzes Facebook trends, the social networking site had 1 million active users in China just before it was blocked last year. And then, within a few months of the site being blocked, that number dropped to just 14,000 users, a decline of more than 70%. The Chinese government doesn't discuss which sites it is actively blocking, nor does it offer reasons for individual sites being censored. After a brief period of relaxed control in 2008 that corresponded with the Olympic Games, the government clamped down during the past year and a half, blocking dozens of sites frequented by foreigners. Analysts note that much of this increased censorship corresponded with sensitive political dates last year, including the 20th anniversary of Tiananmen Square and the 60th anniversary of the founding of modern China. Both Facebook and Twitter, meanwhile, were blocked as rioting broke out in Xinjiang, a province in the far west of China, last summer. Some analysts also believe that the blocking of foreign sites is done to give domestic competitors an edge, a criticism that has intensified since Google pulled out of mainland China in March this year. According to Jeremy Goldkorn, the founder and head writer of the prominent China-centric blog Danwei.org, which was itself blocked last summer, the censorship of foreign websites became endemic last year.
Half of the international internet, as used by ordinary users, doesn't work. Facebook's down, Twitter's down, YouTube's down, and has been, all those three for most of this year.
To many expats in China, including Jeremy, the reasons for this increasing censorship are elusive.
We don't really believe there's any reason for us to be blocked, but what can we do?
Whatever the cause, the censorship of these sites impacts the lives of many foreigners around China as they struggle for ways to share their experiences with friends and family abroad.
I feel slightly cut off from friends and family at home. I'm from England, and Facebook is one of my main ways of communication. It's kind of replaced my email at the moment and MSN. So I used to be a quite frequent email and MSN user, and now because of Facebook, that's my main source of communication.
Who was beaten to death by 2 cops. And of course the cops as usual said, oh no, he just choked on some pills and it was asphyxiation. And then of course we saw the pictures in reality of how badly he was beaten, and in fact of course it was the cops who had literally beaten him to death. And so Bonim started this this Facebook page saying, hey, we are all Khalid Saeed, right? I blew up to over 400,000 people on that page. And that was where everybody started to gather and organize for the protest. And in the beginning, when they went out to do the protest, they thought, you know what, we'll be lucky if 50 people show up. We'll probably get beaten right away and it'll be over in a couple hours. But all of a sudden, thousands of people started showing up. And that's the power of the internet. And it's so appropriate that this guy works in Google.
On June 6, 2010, Khalid Saeed was beaten to death by Egyptian police. He was killed after supposedly posting a video on the internet of officers sharing the spoils from a drug bust amongst themselves. At first, the police refused to investigate his death. Pressure caused an impartial investigation which resulted in 2 policemen being questioned and then arrested. The 2 policemen were charged for using excessive force and unjustified arrest, but not murder. They were sentenced to jail for 7 years.
A group of students gathered in the UC Davis Quad setting up an Occupy movement. This movement began peacefully with donations being made to the students, allowing them to continue with the movement. Over time, the UC Davis police arrived dressed in riot gear. With them, they had tear gas, grenades, and pepper spray. The students would not leave, and after the police yelled orders for some time, one officer openly sprayed pepper spray on a group of protesters. When watching this on the news, citizens were not given the entire story. This story was censored.
Unjustly arrested! Participating in their rights! Let's march peacefully! As one! They're being held!
Through newscasts and video clips, citizens were led to believe the police officer openly sprayed the group of protesters without any warning. This has been proven to be incorrect. Protesters were given 4 verbal warnings to leave without consequence. After the protesters made a circle around the police, they were given warning that the pepper spray may be used on them. After this incident occurred, the officer who sprayed the students was given $38,000 in workers' compensation from the university. He also relocated, changed his email address and cell phone number. From the moment this video went viral, citizens were never given the full story until primary sources were able to post full-length videos onto sites such as YouTube.
My name is Ed Snowden. I'm 29 years old. I work for Booz Allen Hamilton as an infrastructure analyst for NSA in Hawaii. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically, targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends. So while they may be intending to target someone associated with a foreign government or someone that they suspect of terrorism, they're collecting your communications to do so.
Chelsea Manning, formerly known as Bradley Manning, is an ex-United States soldier and transgender woman. She was arrested and convicted in July of 2013 after leaking the largest set of classified documents ever leaked to the public to WikiLeaks. Manning had numerous charges pressed against her, such as stealing government property and violating the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. She was sentenced to 35 years in jail. Recently, she has requested for a name change, which was allowed, and now the Pentagon may allow her to transfer to a different facility to receive hormone replacement therapy. Today, many stand by her side and support her actions. They are thankful for what she did.